Welcome to the Big O Money Show. Bill Altman here, co-host Tony Shore. Yes, he's back. And we're got a special show today. It's a kind of a going away party show for Mitch, our producer Mitch, and he's been with us for, the 8 plus or 9 or 10 or how many ever years we've been on KFAB.
About
He's
9.
been producing our shows and very he does a great job. He's a very talented man, no doubt. But he also, in his free time, we'll say, which is getting less and less, has a company called Horn Dog Maps. So just the way it sounds, Horn Dog, like the horn on a unicorn, let's say, right? Horn Dog, DOG Maps. You can look that up and do the Google machine on that.
Yeah, horndogmaps.com is the web address.
And you'll see what he does. He does a great job, really, really cool, like 3D maps, and does all kinds of crazy stuff and keeps doing more and more and putting overlays. And I'm not even saying it right. He's probably cringing right now listening to this, but we're very proud of him. We've been very happy with what he's done. For us, very sad to see him go, a true talent in our industry. That's no doubt about that on the radio side. But there always comes a time when true passion calls. So I think that's pretty cool. And so for Mitch, thank you for all you've done, and for all of our listeners. Behind the scenes stuff is what really puts these shows out on the air. So thank you. I can't hear you, Tony.
Sorry about that. And I've worked with Mitch for about 11 years. And talk about a talented guy. He's going to be missed. And I could go to him, and he just has an intuition when it comes to software. It doesn't matter if it's brand new to him. He'll sit down, and in an hour, he'll have any software program figured out, no matter how complicated.
Mm-hmm.
He is really great with computers, and a sharp guy, and we're going to miss him. We're going to have a hard time replacing that guy.
Hell of a fisherman too.
Yeah, really. In fact, he's actually fishing in Canada as we speak. He loves that, and he makes these lake maps, and they are fantastic. In fact, for our viewers, I'll pull one up. I'll put one up on the show here as we talk in a second. But he is great. We're gonna miss Mitch, and the best to him. But he's just it got to be too much. His lake map business just took off, and I'll explain the name. His dog Sterling, when he goes out, likes to go out hiking and looking for. He's also a chef and likes to look for mushrooms to eat, certain types to make with his food. Or they'll go out maybe bow hunting or fishing, and his dog runs off and will come back with a deer antler or horns. Deer's
Sure.
bucks shed their horns, and so his dog always manages to find these buck horns. So his logo is his dog Sterling with a deer horn in its mouth. So
that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Horn Dog Maps, 3 separate words, but put it together and just horndogmaps.com. Yeah, isn't that amazing? I mean, it's pretty cool, Bill.
Yep, it is pretty cool. Part of the team, and always will be part of the team. So thank you, Mitch, for everything that you've done. And it's your farewell show from me.
Oh,
no, we'll still talk about you, but you'll bite. Everybody has to get on from KFAB Nation that's listening to this show right now, which has to be millions of listeners, I would imagine anyway. Horndogmaps.com. Flood his inbox and get some maps ordered. He'll do you maps on anything. If you live out at one of the lakes out here in Valley, or whether you're at Okoboji or somewhere in Minnesota, he pulls them up, knows what to do, has the depth on there. It's so freaking cool.
Oh, it is. It's very cool. And I can't get the image to pull up right now, but it's fantastic.
No, you're good.
Really
yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And today we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot going on. We haven't talked a whole lot about social security changes. And there has been a lot of change in Social Security and tax, not only in Nebraska, but on a federal side. And we saw this with the new bill that recently passed from President Trump. And it's certainly going to affect people in a good way. It increases deductions, and there are certain deductions, there are certain income levels that are pretty substantial where you can still have a deduction. It might be starting to get phased out a little bit, but we're getting back there. Remember, Social Security we feel is the foundation for your retirement planning, and sometimes it sounds a little bit goofy, but we have to come up with a baseline at some point, right? So if you retire and you said your Social Security is $3,000 a month, but you need 7,000 a month to retire on, we know we need to find that 4,000. And we're going to find it from your investments, from your 401k. Maybe you have rentals or whatever your situation is. We need to find that extra 4,000. I know the 3,000 is there. I believe the 3,000 will continue to be there. We're seeing taxes be not eliminated, but decreased on Social Security on both state and federal levels, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great news.
And I think, and I've said this a million times, but not to belabor, but I believe they'll rob Peter and pay Paul before they get rid of Social Security. I think getting rid of Social Security, the largest pension plan in the world, or defaulting on Social Security for the American people, would be an international political suicide. So we're not talking about a party, a Republican or a Democrat or an independent party. We're talking about the world. And it's going to show the world that we can't pay our bills. And that's not a friendly thing, right?
No.
And so credit ratings go down, interest payments go up, people want to call in their bonds, all kinds of stuff goes on at that point, right? And we're not talking about people like you and I, Tony, right? We're talking about countries that own a lot of our debts. And so those are and that's why I continue to say I believe it will still be around. I believe Medicare will be around. I believe Medicaid will be around. Well, they're shortening. I believe on the Medicaid issue, they are working on the fraud piece. I firmly believe that. I don't think they're trying to take Medicaid away from people that truly need it. I don't believe that piece. I believe it's a fraud issue, and I think there's so much fraud out there in so many aspects. But Medicaid, we see it all the time. Medicare, we're seeing the fraud, right? And all of that. So it's just kind of reining it in, getting a better system going, and making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. That's an important thing, and something that we talk here about on the Big O Money Show, bigomoney.com. We talk about that quite a bit here in our premier advisory group studios on 120th and Stonegate between Blondo and Maple. If you want to get yourself a burger, go to Culver's and then pop on over to the group here, and we'll take good care of you.
Now, the Stonegate Studios, are we going with that name, Bill? You've mentioned a couple, and that you keep renaming the studio. What are we going to?
I'm just going to keep going with the renaming of.
Well, I know we have a lot of small business owners and large business owners that listen to the show, and we've had some on as guests.
Yes.
Maybe you should do a paid sponsorship of the.
Oh, maybe I should.
It's an income stream. And name the Big O Studios. Right?
Are we talking about mailbox money here?
Yeah, we're talking about mailbox money. Is what we're talking about.
I thought that didn't exist.
It does exist. It just hasn't existed for you yet at this point. But this could be your answer. This could be your way to get a regular royalty. I mean, what's your buddy who recycles railroads?
Jeff Peterson.
Yeah, but what's the company name?
Omaha Track.
Okay, so coming to you live from the Omaha Track Studios, Bill Altman. See, he could pay for that sponsorship. Give him a call if he's listening to the show.
He's listening. He's a listener. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, the Omaha Track Studios. We gave him a free plug right there, but for a certain fee, a monthly fee, he could sponsor the studios.
100,000 or so, right?
Yeah, 100 grand a year, right?
Month? Oh, a
A
year. Okay.
month. You were
Oh,
thinking a month. Okay, I undercut you there a little bit.
I kid. I kid. So first, let's talk about Nebraska's Social Security taxes because it is a big question that comes up quite a bit here.
Well, a
And
lot of people don't realize that Social Security can be taxed. I didn't mean to interrupt, but let's start
no, you're
from that
good.
standpoint.
Well, I mean, if we talk about it, yeah, from famous fireside chats given by FDR back in the 30s talked about Social Security never being taxed, and then in 1983, government had to do a money grab, and so they dipped into the old fund and started taxing it. 50% of benefits were taxed. 50% were still tax free, but 50% of the benefits. So if you're making $1,000 a month and such, $500 of it was taxable at your ordinary income rate. And then they, and 10 years later, they're like, well, geez, that worked pretty well. How about we add a little bracket? And they added the 85% bracket. 85% of your benefits, right? So now you're at that $1,000 income level for Social Security. That's what your Social Security check is. $850 would be taxed at your ordinary income rate, depending on tax brackets and where you were. So if you're a married couple making over $44,000 a year, you're in that 85% bracket. 85% of the benefits would be taxable at ordinary income. And so, and then people thought it was just going to go up from there, but it didn't. It stopped there. So in 1993, there was two, 83 and 93. And again, it was never supposed to be taxed. So for the first, 50 years, I suppose,
Yeah.
since these original fireside chats,
Since
it was never going to be taxed.
Since 1935 when it was enacted. Yeah.
Right. And so we had the first 50 years of, and then they started taxing it, and now it's kind of backing off, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So the state of Nebraska, so not only were the feds taxing it, but a lot of the states were taxing it. And then some states started backing off. And it was not a ploy, but it was an incentive for someone to live or retire in that state. And we didn't have that. Nebraska is last typically on that whole taxation piece. We come in last at, not last, but we're always we're a late adopter. How about that? Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah, late adopters. Yeah.
We like to see how it works with everybody else, and then we employ it after
Smart.
it works. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Call it what you want. It's the same with like the marijuana and the gambling and everything else. It's like,
for better or worse.
Just drive across the border and get some if you want and pay them taxes and then come back to your home state. Come on now, people.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. But so now in 2025, 2024 was an 80%. So it was a phase out.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was originally Senator Brett Lindstrom, who's now running for Bacon's seat. Okay. Yep. Bacon's retiring, General Bacon. And he originally, I believe, brought it to the table of the reduction and elimination of Social Security tax on the state level in Nebraska, which was pretty neat. Well, it finally comes to fruition. 2024 was an 80% reduction, meaning 80% was phased. You're only taxed on 20% of your benefits. And now 2025, 100%. No taxes on your Social Security benefits here in the state of Nebraska. It's not bad.
So there's no state tax on Social Security in Nebraska. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
That's great.
That's exactly right.
Because in my home state of Minnesota, yikes.
Chunky.
Yeah.
And
it's like the exact figure now, but they do tax. It's we're I think if not the highest, like second highest tax on Social Security in the nation.
Keep your money yours, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before in shows. The more, whether it's corporate or individual, the more money you keep yours, the more likely you are to go spending on something else that will probably be taxed, right? Whether it's food or gasoline or whatever, right? Or you're supporting somebody, at the restaurant that's out there making tips You might go out to eat a little bit more. I don't know what your situation's going to be, or you just hoard it and put it in the bank, whatever you like to do with it. But at the end of the day, it's your money, not the government's money, right? And it was never supposed to be the government's money. We would like to ask for a refund, I think, right? I mean, I think most people would. I have not taken any Social Security benefits myself, and I don't think Tony has either. But I'm sure your parents and my parents would love to ask for a little refund.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like remember when these talks were had? And that's why we talk about sometimes putting our blinders on when it comes to different presidents and politics. And as much as we have our opinions on what's going on, we know that, FDR comes out and says no taxes ever, and then all of a sudden it changes, and then it changes again, and now it changes again, right? And so I think we're constantly going to see that change. And so it's important to really vote for what you want to happen. I think that's really important, but also knowing, don't get so emotionally driven in it where you drive your family away, which we see, or you drive your friends away, and you're so crazy on one side or the other that people no longer want to talk to you, or you don't want to talk to other people because of politics. That's silly, because they're going to change.
Right.
They always have. That's the one thing that's constant, isn't it, though? Change.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that we can count on is things will change. And sometimes the more they change, the more they stay the same. So you can take that and continue it. I just thought I'd throw this out. I just looked it up. In Minnesota, in Nebraska, be thankful, because if you live just a little ways away in Minnesota, if you're married and filing jointly and your adjusted gross income is above $141,000, all your all your benefits are subject to tax.
Gotcha.
All your Social Security is subject to state tax. So
Above 141,000 joint.
yeah, which for a couple nowadays is not a
It
lot.
doesn't take a lot to get there.
No, it
Right.
doesn't take a lot to get there as a couple, if you're both working. And, and a lot of people who have kids and families and homes, they're both working. And if you've been working a while, so what it's doing is it's punishing those in the middle class and upper middle class who have been, who are older, who are maybe high earners or even middle life earners. I mean, that's not much, 141,000. But I think it's whatever the federal government, federally taxable benefits. So I think that means it's still just the 85%. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
But that's still not good. I think that's one of the highest in the nation. So.
Right. And so, then we look at federal Social Security taxes, which have been starting to get phased out a little more.
Yeah.
The maximum amount of earnings subject to Social Security tax, known as your taxable maximum or your wage base.
Right.
So this is where you're earning money, and at some point you're making enough where they no longer tax your Social Security benefits. They no longer, I shouldn't say that. They no longer tax your income towards Social Security. That other 7% or whatever it is, or 3.5% for Soch, they don't add that piece into your check. So you kind of get a little raise.
Yeah.
That went up to $176,100 in 2025. And in 2024, it was $168,600.
Sure.
So that's going up a little bit. So individuals earning above 176,000 will actually pay more in Social Security tax compared to the previous year.
Yeah.
Because it went up. So your wage base went up.
And I see, to shore up Social Security, no pun intended, I think what they're going to do is remove that limit. That's one of the things.
And Tony, you're right, but removing that limit, you think about it, it's not like if you remove the limit, the cap on income stops.
Right.
Right. So if you have the person that's paying in and they're making $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year, or $100 million a year, or something crazy, right? And the limit's removed, how much is their Social Security check going to be? Can we afford to remove the limit is the question.
Right. They would have to adjust that accordingly. And I don't know if they can do that or not. They'd have to change it quite a bit.
You got to pay in. So now you're paying into a Ponzi scheme even more. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just goofy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't have the answers for you.
No, I
Um,
totally agree with you, but I think that's one thing that they're looking at doing. That and raising the full retirement age, of course, where they start paying full benefits. You have to be older to get that full benefit. I think they're going to do
yeah.
that.
And 6.2% is the Social Security tax rate itself, and that has remained unchanged. So,
Right.
so if you're self-employed, go ahead and add double that. You're at 12.4% is what you're paying for
Yikes.
those benefits.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize your employer is paying half into your Social Security.
Yeah,
So a
exactly.
lot of people don't appreciate, these big corporations or they're making all the money. But what I've come to learn, I used to be one of those guys who thought, well, they got all the money and they don't. But then I learned they're paying half my healthcare benefits. They're giving me a match on what I put into my retirement fund, and they're putting 6% into Social Security out of each. They're paying for 6% of my
Right.
Social Security tax, and I pay the other half,
Right.
right?
And that's something that, again, a lot of people don't realize. If you look at total benefits and you're making, whatever the dollar amount you're making, add 7% plus your match plus your health insurance, and
Yeah.
then you're going to get to your total benefits and maybe your time off and everything like that.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
not just like you're coming in making 50 grand. Your 50 grand might really be 65 grand in
Or
total benefits
70,
or whatever
yeah,
the
or
number
more.
is.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably more, and, but you realize our listeners who realize this are the ones who are self-employed. They get it because 'cause they're paying for it all out of pocket.
That's
Nobody's
right. Yeah.
Yeah, as a small business owner, Bill, nobody's paying for your Social Security or your health care or giving you a match. You're covering all of that yourself.
That's correct. Yeah. And then I cover everybody's else's here,
Yeah.
and gladly to do so
Right,
because they're
right.
incredible workers and I couldn't
Right.
do it without them, but
Right. I
yes,
mean,
you're
not
exactly
much to
right.
look at. I'm not going to name names. Andrew Galvin might not be much of a looker, but what a great team you have. You got
Yeah.
Kaiser and Galvin,
Now
and those guys.
Kaiser, Looker, there we go. Jake
Yeah.
Black. Oh,
Oh,
smokes.
well,
Yeah.
Jake is a
Oh,
smoke show. Yeah,
the Lord.
everyone knows that. But you got Andrew and Kaiser, and they're not much to look at, but talk about great people and good workers, right?
Yep, that's right. That's exactly right. And Social Security benefits increased by 2.5% in 2025. That's COLA. So if you're
Oh,
receiving your benefit in 24, your 25 benefits are up 2.5%. So we know that number. There's
yeah.
also a new temporary income-based benefit of a $6,000 tax deduction for taxpayers aged 65 and older. Now
Yeah.
that benefit is only good until 2028 for right now.
Right, but that's one of the new additions with this new bill, and that is that they've added, for 65 and older, you get an additional 6,000 to that standard deduction,
For
which is
each
great.
taxpayer. That's
Yeah,
exactly right. And
I love that.
and so this is going to help. And we've always, been
Yeah,
told if you watch not any media, but if you watch some media out there, we've been told that this is, bill is only for the rich people. Well, this isn't going to affect the rich people, that piece. This is going to be
no,
lower and middle income people.
yep,
It doubles for a married couple because each of you get the
yeah,
six,
it's
and
great.
it starts to phase out for a married couple at a 175,000. Well, for single, or $250,000 for married is the phase out. Okay, so they're going to allow you to make some pretty darn good money
Yeah,
before they eliminate that tax deduction or take it away from you. And again, it's just through 2028. So we'll kind of see how that works.
yeah. Well, hey, Bill, we're almost out of time.
It's been a good one.
It has been a good one, and really quick for our viewers, I'm gonna put a picture of, Mitch's lake map up there. That's from Mille Lacs Lake, which is one of the bigger lakes here in Minnesota, most popular fishing lakes. But that's a relief map, and that's wood and etched and has all the layers. It's a relief map of the lake that you can hang in your cabin or in your home. They're beautiful. Again, horndogmaps.com. Let's help him out. And Bill, let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you if they want to set up a consultation with you and your team there.
Yeah, schedule that one-on-one complimentary consultation. Give us a call here, 402-557-6730. Again, 402-557-6730. And you can always go to bigomoney.com. And you can look at us there and find us and schedule and all that kind of fun stuff.
Sounds great. Thanks, Bill. Great show today on Social Security. And that does it for today's episode of the Big O Money Show with our host, Bill Altman.